Welcome to the Theatre of Dreams for Fox Sports World's continuing coverage of the English Premier League. Today, Manchester United welcome Aston Villa. Glad you could join us. I am Max Bredos. A mismatch certainly on paper, but this is why we play the games. Manchester United coming off that disappointing loss to Chelsea against an Aston Villa side. Just one position out of the relegation picture, although they themselves coming off an important win over Southampton. Always great to see Tim Howard, as he again is the choice keeper. Gary Neville, Ferdinand, Silvestre, Fortune. Just one change, or I should say two changes, as Kleberson and Cristiano Ronaldo come in for O'Shea and Forlán. Aston Villa, just one change for the side that defeated Southampton. That is Mark Delaney making his 150th club career start, replacing Ulises de la Cruz. Juan Pablo needs to be more productive up front. He is alongside Darius, Vassell. And of course, Dion Dublin, the 34-year-old, playing in central defense. He has had a nice job, including having the game winner against Southampton. We'll see if he can do some magic again. Almost a year since Villa won an away match. Can they do it here? We shall find out. We send it out to Alan Parry.
8 years. Vassell, who has not scored from open play for Aston Villa this season, winning the first challenge against Quintone, who's playing at left back here in preference to Danny O'Shea, who's on the subs bench. Howard back in his now customary position in the United goal. Dublin comes to meet it on the halfway line, and now the twinkling feet of Cristiano Ronaldo and the usual dive to the turf, something he's becoming sadly rather famous for in the English Premier League at the moment. An undoubtedly vastly gifted player, but he does have a tendency to go down easily under challenges like that, as Angel loses out to Ferdinand and Keane in midfield. Here's Mikael Silvestre playing at the heart of United's defence now, the position he favours. Same can be said here of Giggs, out on his customary left-hand flank again. Twisting and turning Delaney brilliantly. Ryan Giggs pulls it back for Kleberson. It took just 60-odd seconds for Manchester United to find their rhythm. Kleberson, who scored his first ever United goal in the recent victory here against Blackburn, could have doubled his total then. Lovely move with Ryan Giggs at the heart of it for Manchester United. Well, certainly Kleberson will know he's got to really produce something special today with Scholes on the bench, because that position the Brazilian is playing is the one that Scholes is first choice in for United. Keane, the skipper, always first choice in the middle of midfield, of course. Now Darius Vassell for Aston Villa, fails to win the throw off Giggs. Just one goal this season, Vassell, and that's from the penalty spot in a Carling Cup tie against second division Wycombe. And he hasn't scored at Villa Park since way back in January. David O'Leary has criticised his strikers this season, saying he's running out of patience. But here's one man who is on target in recent weeks, Angel. Then given away by Hendrie to the opposite number 7, Ronaldo, who finds Giggs. Van Nistelrooy taking on Melberg. Done well, the big Dutchman, but Melberg, in fairness, just got a foot in. He actually gave Villa a first half lead in the game here last season. Olof Melberg, it's the only goal he's ever scored for Villa. And it was equalised late on by Diego Forlán, who's on the subs bench for United today. Silvestre with a sweeping ball, easy for Thomas Sorensen, the former Sunderland goalkeeper. And the Danish international's kick gets Villa straight onto the counter-attack with Darius Vassell, the England international. Back to the Welshman Delaney. Vassell playing in the middle of midfield. Peter Whittingham, the 19-year-old, is enjoying his longest ever run in Villa's first team. The home side get the throw to Gary Neville's dismay. Challenge was on Gareth Barry. Good turn by Angel. Now Ronaldo. Rio Ferdinand still awaiting his fate from the Football Association after missing that drugs test. Seems a long time ago now. And they keep putting off the decision. Here's Giggs. Delaney wins it back. He's had a knee problem. The Welsh international suffered playing for Wales, in fact, in their European Championship playoff against Russia. From Neville to Keane. Good early rhythm here by the champions. Keane, he loses out to Whittingham. And the teenager on to Gareth Barry. Coming in from that left-hand side and using that space is JLloyd Samuel. Ferdinand's tackle. And he came out with the ball. Free kick's been given against him in the end. A real battle there for Rio Ferdinand. Had to take on two Villa players. Good position this in the opening 5 minutes for Aston Villa. Now just organising the defenders around him. But it wasn't a well-placed free kick. He didn't need to be too concerned. And the ball drifts through to the big American, who started every Premier League game since his move from the USA in the summer. Fortune taking his eye off the ball for a moment. Silvestre. Manchester United will be doubly keen to get back to winning ways after the setback at Chelsea. For them to have lost 3 league games already before Christmas, very unusual indeed. Ronaldo, Nistelrooy, back again to the young Portuguese international. Dangerous cross, Dion Dublin stabs it behind for the first corner of the game. Didn't really establish himself in his time as an Old Trafford player. It was a decade ago now, Dion Dublin. Didn't get to make that many appearances. Then moved on to Coventry and then Aston Villa. Ronaldo's corner kick. Oh, straight through a crowd of players and off the line, was it? And Keane shot, back in again, and Aston Villa could easily have been a goal behind. It's been a very bright start by the champions here. Second corner already. Villa rocking. Silvestre. Well, they've survived, but only by the skin of their teeth. Roy Keane so close to giving Manchester United an early lead here. There's Hendrie on the line. And then he made the second block as well. Roy Keane denied what would have been his 4th goal of the season, and more significantly his 50th for Manchester United. Gareth Barry. Foul. Neville, the culprit. Both the Neville brothers playing in the Manchester United team on a frequent basis this season. Neville has really established himself in the midfield role that used to belong to Nicky Butt, who's very unhappy at so few first-team opportunities this campaign. Samuel's free kick, aimed at Mikael. He's good in the air. Quintone Fortune getting it away. And now Melberg. Back into Mikael, who's well read by Ferdinand, to Keane. Good interception though by McCann. Vassell in hard on Fortune twice. Very competitive opening here. Kleberson. Facing his own goal, needed help from Gary Neville. Aston Villa with just 3 wins, remember, 5 draws and 6 defeats. They're on 14 points as Dublin concedes the throw here. The only win so far for David O'Leary against Leicester, Charlton and Southampton, and they all came at Villa Park. They could end up getting dragged into the bottom 3 this weekend if they were to lose here and other results went against them. Everton, who are 2 places off the bottom and 1 behind Villa, don't play until tomorrow when they face Manchester City at Goodison Park. Good play here by Ronaldo. There's already been one Premier League game today, incidentally, at St James's Park, where Newcastle United and Liverpool drew 1-1. An early Danny Murphy goal, giving Liverpool the lead, and then an Alan Shearer penalty, bringing Newcastle level, and in the end, the home side, unlucky not to win it, mounted a real barrage on the Liverpool goal. Keane to Ferdinand. One for Giggs to pursue. But it's beaten him. United's longest serving player now, Ryan Giggs, and incredibly, he's hoping this season for his 9th championship medal. That would, in fact, be a new record if he gets it for English football. He currently shares the record with 2 Liverpool players of old, Phil Neal and Alan Hansen. Minutes gone in this Barclaycard English Premier League match. Still Manchester United 0, Aston Villa 0. Alex Ferguson's had a health scare this week. In a regular checkup, they discovered an irregular heartbeat, but they've sorted it out. He's fine, he says. He's got no problems, raring to go again today as ever. Kleberson back and concedes the throw-in. South American players clashing. Angel, Colombian international. He scored for his country in a World Cup qualifier. A 1-1 draw against Argentina a couple of weeks ago. McCann. He was asking a lot of Hendrie there. Excellent defending by Ferdinand. Samuel's header has gone loose to Neville. And Phil Neville feeds it in immediately to Ruud van Nistelrooy. Got Giggs to one side of him, and he ran straight into McCann. Well, they say you've got to defend from the front, and so far Darius Vassell has been closing down United's defenders very quickly. Fortune on that occasion. Having a really long spell in the team, Quinton Fortune on the ball now. He's been unlucky in his previous 3 seasons here when United have won the championship. He hasn't managed to get a medal on any of those occasions because he didn't play a sufficient number of games. There's Neville, Kleberson, loose layoff that was. Back to Hendrie. Not the best ball for Vassell. Grey, cold afternoon in Manchester. Melberg goes long for Angel. That's good control by him. Hendrie. Now Gareth Barry for Villa. Good ball. Good turn by Samuel. Can he get it into a threatening position? No. Keane there to win it back for Manchester United. Villa still looking for their first away win of the season in the Premier League. The best they've managed so far, 2 draws against Birmingham and Newcastle. They lost the other 5. In fact, Villa's last away win was 5-2 at Middlesbrough back in January. Their only win on the road in the whole of last season. Here's Whittingham. Offside. Hendrie fell into the trap. Only missed a couple of league matches under David O'Leary. Hendrie was in and out of the team last season, and Graham Taylor was the man in charge. Here in Dublin, calmly back to goalkeeper Sorensen. Huge kick, and the referee saw some shirt pulling going on there. Angel against Ferdinand. Ferdinand was one of the many first choice players rested for the match against West Bromwich Albion. in the Carling Cup in midweek. United having reached the final of that competition last season, of course, losing to Liverpool at the Millennium Stadium. They won't be going to the final this year. Aston Villa still could. They won their match against Crystal Palace. And it's a competition in which they have a very proud record. They've won it 5 times and appeared in no fewer than 7 finals. Gareth Barry up against Gary Neville. And Ferdinand cleverly played it straight against Lee Hendrie for a Manchester United throw. They've won 6 of their last 8 Premier League games, United, suffering 2 defeats in that spell against Fulham and Chelsea. As I mentioned, they're out of the Carling Cup, but they are through to the second stage of the Champions League. They face Stuttgart here on Tuesday night to decide who wins that group, as United bid to reach the quarter-final of the Champions League for what would be the 8th year in a row. A remarkable record. Here's Barry. Whoops! Played a 1-2 straight off Mr. Dunn. And then gives it away. Fortune. Keane. Quarter of an hour gone at Old Trafford. Still goalless. Silvestre to Kleberson. Oh, it's a good ball. And on it goes from Fortune to Giggs. Van Nistelrooy. And back again to Kleberson. And back to Van Nistelrooy. Brilliant goal. Manchester United take the lead. 16 minutes gone. Superb link up down the left-hand side. And well, the moment it fell to his feet, there was only one outcome, wasn't there? Giggs, Van Nistelrooy, Kleberson, lovely little pullback by the Brazilian, and the Dutchman tapped in. Goal number 13 of the season for him. And it was a tap-in by his standards. But the ball he delivered to Kleberson in the first place was the one that really split Villa wide open. Ruud van Nistelrooy has the incredible record now of scoring 93 goals in 122 games for Manchester United. Samuel's cross at the other end, picking out Darius Vassell. The champions are back on song here. They've started very impressively at Old Trafford today. And Villa are already facing a mountainous task to get back into this game. Sloppy ball there that caught Howard out almost. And Nistelrooy held it up brilliantly. Well, him and Kleberson are playing as though they've been in the same team for years rather than months, and they haven't played together that often either. Here's Giggs. Kleberson really thriving in this role. Paul Scholes might have to sit it out a little bit longer on the subs bench. Superb stuff from United. Well, if you're an Aston Villa fan, here's a worrying statistic for you. They failed to win a single game, Villa, last season, in which they conceded the first goal. And it's now 29 matches since they last managed to overturn a deficit and go on to win. That fact alone worrying enough. But when you're a goal down against Manchester United at Old Trafford, well, it is doubly concerning. Mikael. Straight to Giggs. Again, Vassell determined not to let United settle on the ball. Might not be doing too well at the goal-scoring end of the field, but he's certainly working hard. Contented look back on the face of the Manchester United manager. They felt they deserved something last week against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, Manchester United, and indeed they felt that the penalty that won the game, converted by Frank Lampard, shouldn't have been given. And maybe they've used that frustration to good effect in their preparations for today. And Nistelrooy. Here's Phil Neville. Kleberson. Giggs. Keane. Here's Ronaldo. Wonderful football from United. Dublin who got it clear. Well, I know Sir Alex Ferguson said in his programme notes for today's game that he never doubted his team's ability to come back from disappointment, and that they have done in fine style. Just look at that possession that they've enjoyed over the last 5 minutes, 71%. Ronaldo was clattered there as the ball was played away. I think the referee might bring them back for a free kick here. Whittingham, the player who committed the foul. And they're straight back on with it, United. Giggs. Oh, that was poor. It wasn't long before they regained possession. Here's Vassell. Well, he managed to profit from fortune's slip rather than his own ability then. Silvestre. Giggs with the early ball, just too long for the Brazilian. Van Nistelrooy, nice touch to Kleberson. And on to Ronaldo. Oh, this is exciting football from Manchester United. Gary Neville. Ronaldo with that now familiar little step over, and Dublin prevents the corner, but only just. Ronaldo again. Just nicked away from him by Samuel, who could be in for a torrid afternoon. He's played every league game for Villa this season, and indeed he was never present last season. Keane gets the cross in, and Dublin with another important clearance. Well, if you're a visiting defender, you know you've been in a game usually at Old Trafford. And only 22 minutes gone here. It's been non-stop pressure from United. They just can't get out at the moment, Villa. And the prospect of that first away victory in 11 months for David O'Leary's team receding by the minute here. Well, still early days. We're only a quarter of the way through the game. But I must say the way United are playing has been very impressive. And they have it back with Kleberson. Delaney's mistake. And still Kleberson. Oh, well done, Delaney. Melberg. There's just no outlet for Villa at the moment. Kleberson. Neville. And that's what they're relying on, Aston Villa mistakes. Not the one Phil Neville made then, but it's followed by another mistake by Samuel. Van Nistelrooy. And still with Van Nistelrooy, well played. Excellent defending by Villa in the end. Hendrie for that. Vassell. Well, they're isolating him against Quintone Fortune, and he's had a measure of success. Phil Neville. Fortune's clearance. And it's gone straight to Melberg, the Swedish international, then finding McCann. Whittingham. That was short. Made it very difficult for Samuel. He's given it away to Keane. Ronaldo. And he can try again. He just seems to have an unlimited repertoire of tricks on the ball. Quite how effective it all is remains to be seen, but he's certainly a crowd pleaser. Here he is again. And that's a better ball. More straightforward to pick out Giggs. Ball by Juan Pablo Angel. Kleberson. 25 minutes gone at Old Trafford. Manchester United lead Aston Villa by 1-0. Ruud van Nistelrooy was the scorer in this Barclaycard English Premier League match. Darius Vassell. Now Angel. Vassell did well to get there, very quick. And now Hendrie in the box. And he's done well here, Hendrie, and pulled it back to the wrong area as it happened. Roy Keane stabbing it behind for a corner, but he had two players there to pick out the Villa man. Did really well to win the ball back off Ferdinand. But a better little pull back then. And Villa could have been looking at what had been an unlikely equaliser. The defenders can take a well-aimed breather at the other end. And Melberg's come forward for the corner. And so has Dublin here. Well, he hasn't really lost his knack in front of goal. And that was way off target. And it represents Aston Villa's first goal attempt in the 27th minute. Top scorer last season, Dion Dublin, with 14. And he's got a couple already this. 5 goal attempts by Manchester United. 3 of them on target, and 1 of them a goal, of course. Giggs. Brilliant close control by Ryan Giggs. Oh, yes. Lovely little backheeler for Van Nistelrooy. Well, I think he's better when he just keeps it simple, really. He can leave the tricks to Giggs and Ronaldo. Silvestre at the other end. Good defending. They've been a delight to watch so far, United. Mikael Silvestre. There's Keane. Silvestre changes it and goes long this time. One back by Samuel. Well, one of many worrying factors for Aston Villa now is that no team in the Premier League has a better defensive record than Manchester United. They've got to try and dent that record somehow. United have only let in 9 goals in 14 games. And have kept clean sheets in half of them. Back to Samuel. Not a bad ball for Vassell, who finds Hendrie. Clever little ball back by him, and then lost by McCann. Or was it Delaney getting forward as Van Nistelrooy breaks for Manchester United? Ronaldo. Delaney having to race back into his true position now. Here's Ronaldo again. I think that came off the Villa defender. It did. Still only 18, Cristiano Ronaldo. And as I mentioned before kick-off, only a dozen games behind him for United. But he's a very exciting talent. Giggs with the corner. And he can try Try again. Keane closely watched by McCann on the near post. Van Nistelrooy watched by everybody, and it was the flick on from Keane that almost undid Villa again. Here's Kleberson with the shot. There were so many bodies in there, it would have been some effort to find his way through. Good ball. Oh, and so was that, just too far for Keane. There's been some breathtaking one-touch football from Manchester United in the opening half an hour here at Old Trafford. As you might expect, they have got a wonderful record here. United, they've won 19 out of the last 23 Premier League games at Old Trafford. Good play by Whittingham. And Samuel. It's disappointing, straight to Gary Neville. There's always an outlet with United. It's very often this guy, Ryan Giggs. Offside. Ronaldo had plenty of opportunity to see that. He shakes his head at the linesman, but inexcusable really. And he was massively offside. I don't know what he was shaking his head at. Yards off. Incidentally, Fulham and Blackburn are the only Premier League teams who've managed to score a goal at Old Trafford this season. United have kept 5 clean sheets in their 7 games here. And they've won 5 of them, drawn 1 and lost 1. Delaney. Melberg with a rare opportunity to come forward and finds Gareth Barry. Neville's challenge. There's a flurry of goals at White Hart Lane where Spurs are playing Wolves. 2 in a minute there. Robbie Keane gave Spurs the lead. It was a very short-lived lead. Paul Ince, once of course a star on this stage for Manchester United, equalised for Wolves. Spurs 1, Wolves 1. Foul there by McCann on Kleberson. Not surprisingly, Aston Villa have had to resort to some underhand tactics to try and keep United at bay. 5 fouls against them already. A lovely ball down the line by Giggs. Delaney concedes the throw. You get the impression that both Villa's fullbacks are in for a busy day. Good atmosphere on this cold day at Old Trafford. I'm sure many of them are already relishing the thought of the next game, and that's against Manchester City. City having real problems themselves at the moment. Kleberson. There's Gary Neville. Villa chasing shadows. Rio Ferdinand. That's great football again. Kleberson returning it to Ronaldo. Was that a handball by Dublin? Certainly was. Beautiful little flick there. And just before that, Kleberson had fed Ronaldo into a threatening position as well with a great little pass. Another problem for Thomas Sorensen, perhaps. Ryan Giggs dropped it short this time, but it's cleared only as far as Ronaldo. You never quite know what to expect from him. Here he is again. Gary Neville. The accuracy of some of United's passing has been top rate. And Nistelrooy waiting in the middle, didn't reach in this time. It's reached Giggs instead. And Dublin concedes another corner. I bet he wishes he was still wearing the red of United here. In fact, it's just gone for a throw rather than a corner, but it's been never-ending pressure for Dion Dublin and his Villa defenders. Phil Neville's cross, Ronaldo's header, and offside the decision against Van Nistelrooy. I'm not sure the linesman got this one right, did he? Let's have a look. Ooh, it was close. Dublin moved forward, took a gamble, and in true former Arsenal style, should we say, raised his hand immediately, and it's amazing how often that can persuade a linesman. Vassell just fails to keep it in play this time. Aston Villa have never won a Premier League fixture at Old Trafford, and they've managed to beat United just once in the last 17 League and Cup meetings, home and away. Minutes to half-time, they trail 1-0, and in truth, if they can survive another 10 minutes and keep it to 1-0, they'll be reasonably pleased, Villa, because they'd still be very much in the game at that scoreline. It's a game that, quite frankly, could already have been beyond them. Some of the technique on display, absolutely excellent from United. Ferdinand. Kleberson just had the ball nicked away there by Samuel for a Manchester United throw. Here's Kleberson again. A while to settle, but he's in outstanding form today. Giggs. Wonderful play by Ryan Giggs. And tried to set it up for Keane, who went tumbling. Vassell. Now, can Villa just hold on to the ball for a little longer? No, they can't again. Well, was it a penalty? The fans behind the goal believed it was. Wonderful skill again from Ryan Giggs. I couldn't really tell from that angle. It wasn't a great appeal, I have to say, by the United skipper. The possession statistics looking a little bit kinder in the last few minutes as far as Villa are concerned. But it's still the home team who are dominating here. Since Fulham had that shock 3-1 victory here, United have won their last 3 in a row at Old Trafford against Portsmouth and Blackburn in the Premier League and Glasgow Rangers in the Champions League. Both United's closest rivals in the top 3, also in action today. Chelsea are at Leeds, Arsenal at Leicester. And just a reminder, in case you didn't hear it, that the teams currently said to be battling for 4th place in the Premier League, that is Newcastle and Liverpool. A lot of people think the title is already going to go to one of the top 3. Newcastle and Liverpool drew 1-1 at St James's Park in a lunchtime kickoff. Ronaldo. Neville. Keane. Silvestre switches the play to Keane. It's a lovely ball, but it was well anticipated by Dublin. Hendrie. Vassell making himself available again down the right. McCann. Now Darius Vassell. He's looked Villa's best player, really. And he's earned a free kick here. He certainly seems to have the better of Quintone fortune at the moment, Vassell. Approaching the final 5 minutes of the first half. McCann with the free kick for Aston Villa. It's Keane who headed it away. Delaney. Opportunity for McCann to get the ball into the United penalty area, and Dublin is forward this time. Dion Dublin! Oh, it took a deflection. What a story that could have been. Back on the ground where he was a United player almost 10 years ago now. He's still a threat, Dion Dublin. Giggs with the header away, and Nistelrooy. Instant control and a lovely return ball for Ryan Giggs. Typical United, they've swept from one end of the field right to the other. Van Nistelrooy. Oh. Well, he's been superb. Samuel's clearance. It's gone straight to Ferdinand. Howard keeping himself busy, being available for the back passes from his defenders. Now Ferdinand. Again, Rio Ferdinand looking for Van Nistelrooy this time. Came off Dublin to the Dutchman, now Ronaldo. A long throw, tests Dublin again, but he's not been found wanting. Weird clearance there by McCann, who was David O'Leary's first major signing when he took over in the summer. I hate to depress Aston Villa fans even more, but Manchester United have not lost in the last 48 Premier League matches in which they've scored the first goal. 44 wins and 4 draws. As Dublin clears it yet again. Arsenal were the last team to beat Manchester United after going behind. Ronaldo. By the way, that was almost 2 years ago when that happened. Oh. Well, we're getting the party pieces here from Cristiano Ronaldo. McCann almost twisted double here trying to work out what he was doing. He had to pull the Portuguese star back by his jersey to stop him. And United have another dangerous free kick taken by Giggs. Oh, it's great delivery. Keane. It's Bill Neville. To brother Gary. Kleberson. That was a great ball in as well. Hendrie concedes. Corner number 5. And even Ferdinand's come forward this time. He's yet to score his first United goal in the Premier League. Silvestre. Too deep this time, although Ronaldo will keep running. Delaney was trying to flick the ball against him. He's only managed to concede a corner. A minute of the first half remaining at Old Trafford. United 1, Villa 0. Ronaldo's corner kick. And it's Giggs on the far edge of the box. Clever. Van Nistelrooy! Yes! It's 2-0. He's done it again. The worst possible moment from Aston Villa's point of view to concede a second goal. Ronaldo picking out Giggs on the far side of the penalty area. Great play by Ryan Giggs. And then Van Nistelrooy took it at full stretch and somehow still had time and room in which to turn and get in his shot. It wasn't the most convincing shot, but it'll do. It's ended up in the back of the net. I'm not sure he caught it quite as cleanly as he wished, but his control in the first place was excellent. Great build-up play again, even though it came from a set piece. Van Nistelrooy doubles his and Manchester United's total. And having recently scored his first ever international hat-trick for Holland, he's now one goal away from yet another treble for Manchester United. And Sir Alex Ferguson, well, he'll be feeling an awful lot better now, never mind what the doctors say. That's the best tonic he could have had. A minute of stoppage time will be played. And Aston Villa, really, if they had any hope of survival in this match, I've got a feeling it might just have gone. Well, they were so close to a 1-0 deficit. That's become 2, and Ruud van Nistelrooy has...
Well, Aston Villa, as Morrissey would say, like a boar hemmed in between arches. Manchester United putting down the hammer. 2 goals by Ruud van Nistelrooy. Those days long gone. And clubs like Villa and Leeds United with high pedigree maybe struggling to stay afloat and find the same ending that struck West Ham United last season. The drop is friendly to no one. Aston Villa looks to get something positive here in the second half. Manchester United look to return to their winning ways. We now send it back to Alan Parry.
They'll be qualifying for the next stage of the Champions League as winners of their group. They're already definitely through anyway, of course, courtesy of their victory in Panathinaikos, secured with a late goal by Diego Forlán, who's on a very talented Manchester United subs bench today. Vassell winning it back for an Aston Villa team who are under almost constant pressure in the first 45 minutes here. Can they somehow conjure up at least one goal to get them back into this game? You've got Neville playing back heelers. It just shows you how impressive Manchester United have been today. And he combining brilliantly again. Here's Van Nistelrooy. Just overrun it this time. Straight into Melberg. Hendrie's flick. And Keane picks up the pieces and finds Kleberson. Ferdinand. United so adept at slowing it down when they have to, and then finding that sudden injection of pace. Their 8th Premier League title, of course, last season, with a magnificent run towards the end. 15 wins from 18 games. In fact, if you add in the way they've started this season, Manchester United have actually won 25 out of their last 32 Premier League fixtures. Here's Ronaldo. Dublin failed to put out the cross. Delaney to the rescue, and then McCann's clearance finding Angel. They need a bit more from him. He was very quiet in that first half. Gareth Barry. Angel again. Scored 9 goals for Villa this season, easily their top scorer. Delaney. Vassell. And Welsh international with a clever ball there for Lee Hendrie. Great defending by Silvestre. They've kept their concentration superbly, the Manchester United back four. They've had so little to do. But now, having said that, they've given it away to Gareth Barry here. Got it on his wrong foot. If he could have got a shot in with the left, United might have had a problem. That actually is the first Aston Villa effort that's been anywhere close to being on target. McCann. Samuel. Well, Sir Alex took over 17 years ago last month here at Old Trafford, and he's since gone on to win more trophies than any manager in the history of English football. And it will be a big surprise if he doesn't add to that list of honours this season, one way or another. They'll have their usual battle with Arsenal, and now it seems Chelsea for the Championship. They're going well in Europe. The FA Cup hasn't started for them yet on this, the second round day. The big boys coming, of course, in the next round. Well, they are already out of the Carling Cup competition. Aston Villa were only 3 points above the relegation zone last season. They finished 16th, their lowest for 8 years. They were in the bottom half for virtually the whole of the campaign. And the way things are going here, I don't just mean today, but here this season, that is, they could face another long winter of struggle. Neville. Given away to Hendrie in midfield. No cutting edge at all to Aston Villa's play. Even when they have gone forward, and that's been on rare occasions really. United have contained them very comfortably. There's Fortune. Ball for Van Nistelrooy. Delaney having to chase back as the Dutchman closes down Sorensen again. He never gives up on anything. And just when you think things are bad enough, you have a look, if you're Aston Villa's manager, along the touchline and see the likes of Paul Scholes and Diego Forlán warming up for a possible introduction later. Neville. By Melberg, and just as well, otherwise Van Nistelrooy could have been in again. And the big central defenders continued his run forward here. Gareth Barry, Keane with the interception. Neville brushed aside there by Gareth Barry. A bit of danger here for Manchester United, but they just play their way out of trouble, or until that moment they did anyway. A mistake by Keane, and they've got away with that even. News from White Hart Lane, where Tottenham are back in front again against Wolves. Wolves, one of the teams below Villa, of course, in the Premier League table. Freddie Canute, the former West Ham player, on his return after injury, has made it Tottenham Hotspur 2, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1 on a day where there haven't been many goals in the Premier League. There's McCann. That's a good ball in, but no, in the end it was too high for Mikael, who didn't even make an effort to go for it. Just to remind you that in the one game already completed in the Premier League today, it finished Newcastle United 1, Liverpool 1. And David O'Leary is the third different manager that Aston Villa have had in the last 2 years. And the problems are still there for all to see. And Hell's layup. at least. I suppose you could call that an effort, although it was miles off target from young Peter Whittingham, who's only scored 1 goal in the first team so far. That was in a Carling Cup tie against Wycombe in a 5-0 win. Still waiting for his first Premier League goal. Another goal has been scored in the Premier League. It was scored at Loftus Road in a match between Fulham and Bolton, but not scored by the team you might expect there. Fulham in good form, of course. They started the day in 4th place in the Premier League table, but they've gone a goal down to Bolton Wanderers. Kevin Davis scoring for Sam Allardyce's team, who are in a run of really good form at the moment. 8 minutes into the second half of this Barclaycard English Premier League match here at Old Trafford. Manchester United still with a comfortable 2-0 advantage. And Hell's header. McCann and Hell again. And now Delaney onto Hendrie. But Fortune quick to spot the danger and deal with it. Very good play. He's given it away. And this is where United hit teams on the break. That's a great ball if Van Nistelrooy can get there. Well defended by Melberg. Keane. He wouldn't have liked that challenge from Hendrie. And nor did the referee, who's reaching for the yellow card for the first time today for the youngster, who is about to receive his 5th caution of the season. And that now will mean an automatic ban. Not only that, he's taking his life in his hands, making a challenge like that on Roy Keane, who has been known to seek his own retribution for tackles like this. Doesn't need to today. Confirmation of Hendrie's yellow card. He can be a fiery little player, Hendrie. He's been sent off 3 times in his Villa career already. He was rested for the Carling Cup match against Crystal Palace in midweek. Ronaldo to Phil Neville, won back by young Whittingham, who was also dropped to the bench for that game. Samuel, away by Gary Neville. 10 minutes into the second half, Villa are enjoying a little more possession than they did in the opening 10 minutes of the first, but not really threatening much with it. Here's Angel. And they win it back again. Kleberson. Much better. A bit more pressure on the ball in midfield from Villa. But now here come United again on the break with Kleberson. Great ball. Ronaldo. And he fixes it up for Kleberson again. Now to the young man on whom Sir Alex Ferguson is banking that United will have a great future at the heart of this move. And Ronaldo, for once, not attempting too many tricks, just playing it simply. Robertson got the shot all wrong. He has had a very good game today, the Brazilian. Now at the other end, Vassell. Oh dear. Well, that almost turned into an effort by accident from Darius Vassell. He certainly wasn't intending that. There's been a certain lack of conviction about Aston Villa's play today, almost as though they came here expecting to lose. And with their dreadful away record, you might say it's not surprising. Well, it looks as though Paul Scholes is going to get his first taste of first team action for some 6 weeks. Ready to come off the bench now. I suppose it could be Kleberson that he replaces, because it would be a like-for-like change in terms of the position that the Brazilian is playing in today. Here he is. Sir Alex seems to be ready to make a double change. The young Frenchman, David Bellion, former Sunderland player, is also preparing for action. Opportunity for Manchester United just to freshen things up, really. Sure, it's no reflection on whoever is going to come off. Here's Melberg. Come back by Fortune. Now Ryan Giggs. Offside, Van Nistelrooy. And a very generous round of applause greets the sight of Paul Scholes on the touchline. They've missed him, Manchester United. Phil Neville and Ryan Giggs will be the two players to make way. Giggs had a brilliant first half. And Paul Scholes is back in action, replacing one of his great pals. Came through the youth setup here together, Phil Neville. And David Bellion, who's had quite a few opportunities now, more than I think most people expected. This is his 9th appearance since he moved from the northeast in the summer. He didn't get many chances to play in Sunderland's first team. Vassell to Barry. Now Lee Hendrie. Barry again. Back to Whittingham. Over elaborate at times, Villa. There was a real possibility of a shot on target then, but they just took that one pass too many. You wouldn't rule out Paul Scholes coming back to first team action with a goal. His record quite phenomenal. Since he scored for his country, but certainly Sven-Göran Eriksson will be glad to see him back in regular action again. Poor layoff by Mikael gives Scholes his first touch of the ball. An hour gone at Old Trafford in the Barclaycard English Premier League. Manchester United 2, Aston Villa 0. Ruud van Nistelrooy got both of them in the first half. Hendrie. Scholes is there winning tackles already. Delaney. Lee Hendrie again. Now Angel. No way through. Paul Scholes beat him in the challenge again. But United have presented it back to Aston Villa. Not for long though. Untidy the start of this second half. And once again they've given the ball away, Manchester United. Here's Hendrie. Well, that was a good save. Maybe saw it coming a little bit late there, Howard. Things are beginning to look up a little bit for Aston Villa here. That was certainly curling towards the top corner. Hasn't scored yet this season, Lee Hendrie. Got 4 goals in the previous campaign. Howard just got himself into a slightly poor position, but readjusted very well. Made a wider target by the man who scored Villa's goal here last season, Olof Melberg. News from the Walker Stadium, where Leicester City are playing Arsenal. There's been a goal, and it's Arsenal who scored it. The Brazilian Gilberto. Leicester City 0, Arsenal 1. Arsenal above Manchester United, 3 points above them at the start of play. Whittingham. Here's Dion Dublin. Not been the happiest of returns to his old ground for him. Oh, he's had a steady game at the back. Fortune. Very calm defending by the South African. He and Silvestre, and indeed Ferdinand and Gary Neville have proved a very solid back line for United today, as Dublin wins it back at the other end. Still a very good player, Dion Dublin. He's in the 17th season of his long career now. Melberg. Angel. I'm very disappointed with him today. Showed nothing really. Ronaldo. To the Dane Sorensen. Melberg. This is Whittingham. It's all a bit predictable at the moment, frankly. Manchester United have dropped down a gear from their scintillating first half display, and that has given Aston Villa a lot more possession, but it's possession that they haven't really been able to use very effectively. Forced into the clearance, and it looks as though Aston Villa are going to make a change now. The Swedish international Marcus Olbeck will replace the disappointing Juan Pablo Angel. Angel got his 9th goal of the season in the Carling Cup victory against Crystal Palace, so he's not going to add to the total today. Place of the Colombian, Olbeck, in his 2nd season in the Premier League now. He scored 6 goals in his first, but only 1 so far this season. That was in the recent 2-1 defeat against Tottenham at White Hart Lane. Keane. To Ronaldo. Melberg gets it back though. Will the introduction of Olbeck provide more of a threat for Aston Villa, who've only scored 11 goals in 14 games this season? There's only 2 teams in the Premier League that scored fewer, Southampton and Wolves. The goals against record 17 in 14. Compares favourably with most teams in the table, apart from the very top ones. They just can't get goals. Bellion using his pace, but couldn't keep it on the field. McCann for Aston Villa. 25 minutes to go. Olbeck's first touch is a layoff, and a poor one at that. Scholes wins it back and finds Ronaldo. Pulled out of it by Delaney. Still chasing Ronaldo. He was taken off at West Brom in midweek. Olbeck. Barry. Tripped by Scholes. And Dublin will go forward for the free kick. Ferdinand's clearance. There's Hendrie for Villa. The ball back in. Keane got it away, only as far as Melberg. Keane again. Home fans beginning to get a little bit frustrated here. They did something similar to this against Blackburn in the last home game. Controlled the first half and then just went to sleep a little bit in the second half. Manchester United conceded a goal, and in the end, well, they weren't exactly hanging on, but it wasn't as comfortable a finish as they would have wished. I don't want that to happen again. Here's Hendrie for Villa. Delaney. McCann. Getting the time to turn. And gives it away. McCann winning it back though. Hendrie. Delaney. And they're beginning to get anxious, the Manchester United fans. As Melberg swings on in, looking for Barry, away by Neville. Bellion. Didn't see much of him. He's got terrific pace. Still learning the game, really. Still only a youngster with not many games under his belt, but a lot of exciting potential. News of another goal from the Premier League. This time it's been scored at St Andrews, and it's Birmingham City 0, Blackburn Rovers 1. The Scottish international, captain of Scotland, in fact, Barry Ferguson, scoring there for Graham Souness's team. And in fact, even as I speak, it's gone to 2-0. Lucas Neal, the Australian international, got the second. Well, he's made a difference here, all back. Certainly more of a physical challenge than the rather lightweight De La Cruz provided. And maybe that's just woken Manchester United up a little bit. The whole story with United is if you rattle the Lions' cage, you could end up getting a very nasty bite. Samuel couldn't risk going back to his goalkeeper. Scholes. Here's Ferdinand. Clearance picked off by McCann in midfield. Can Aston Villa turn this increased possession into a goal? Just a shade over 20 minutes to go. And look how close things are now in terms of possession compared to the figures in the first half. At one stage, Manchester United were enjoying 70-odd%. So maybe the opportunity for Aston Villa to press home that territorial advantage, if we can call it that, by bringing on another substitute. Thomas Hitzlsperger is about to come on, the German under-21 international. Scholes tries to pick out, and does pick out, Bellion. And a chance now for Barry. Allbeck's with him. Here's Hendrie. Given away in midfield. Van Nistelrooy to Ronaldo. It's a good ball to pick out Ruud Van Nistelrooy again. It wasn't the most convincing effort, but somehow or other he always manages to get a shot on target. Lovely ball by the Portuguese player to pick him out. Well, it's very hard to sustain for 90 minutes the kind of football United played in the first 45 here, but nonetheless they've been disappointing since the change around. I suppose they will say they're conserving energy for the challenges ahead against Stuttgart and Manchester City, but certainly they need a little infusion of life, and maybe Forlán is the man to provide it, as Aston Villa first make their change. One young man coming off for another. Peter Whittingham makes way for Thomas Hitzlsperger, who started against Crystal Palace in midweek, and Ruud Van Nistelrooy is the player who will be replaced, and he won't get his hat-trick today, but he deserves that standing ovation for those two excellent first-half goals. And Forlán, who scored his first ever Premier League goal to rescue a point in the corresponding game last season, takes Van Nistelrooy's place as Hendrie plays it in and wins a corner off Scholes. Bit of urgency about Villa now, and they're looking so much better for it. Although in truth you just wonder how much of it is down to their own improvement as opposed to United dropping down a gear. There's Lee Hendrie. That could be interesting, but the goalkeeper made absolutely sure it was his, and a good early throw out. Finds Kleberson. On to Forlán, his first touch. And it's a good one for Ronaldo! Oh dear, what a wild effort by Cristiano Ronaldo. Only one goal so far in his new career in English football. That came in the 3-0 victory against Pompey. He should have done better here. Ball just sat up as he was striking it. Not exactly a textbook volley. Now, at the other end, a problem, but one dealt with very capably again by Silvestre. Oh dear, Howard took a big risk there. Could have easily rebounded off Olof into the net. He got away with it there, the United goalkeeper, Marcus Olof. All credit to him for closing down the big American so quickly. Just had his eyes on the ball. I'm not sure he was even aware of how close Olof was. There's Olof again. He really has made a difference. And foul by Hitzlsperger this time. He began his career with Bayern Munich. Thomas Hitzlsperger, though he never actually made the first team there. Picked up by Villa's scouting system in Germany. He's on the ball again. Dublin. Samuel. Great piece of control there by Darius, Vassell, and he's kept going. Well, that was a foul, but the referee's allowed play to go on. Hendrie, step over to Delaney, and the cross to the back post caused a real problem to Howard. Big American needed all his considerable height to deal with this one. Shot into that crowd of players by Hitzlsperger could have gone anywhere. 15 minutes to go at Old Trafford. A nervy ending for the home side. There's Marcus Olof again for Villa. How often have we seen Manchester United under that kind of pressure suddenly breaking loose and getting a goal? Are we to see it again? Ronaldo. Remarkable turnaround in the game at Loftus Road between Fulham and Bolton. You may remember that Bolton led through Kevin Davis there. And another Davis, Sean Davis, has equalised for Fulham. And then within a minute, Facundo Sava, the Argentine international, has given Fulham the lead. So it's Fulham 2, Bolton Wanderers 1. Fulham a much improved team this season. And there's been another goal at White Hart Lane, and it's another goal for Spurs. Robbie Keane second in the game, making it Spurs 3, Wolves 1. Wolves in trouble in the bottom three. Here's Vassell for Villa, who could find themselves in the bottom three by tomorrow. Everton could overtake them. Here's Forlán. Come back by Melberg. Still enough time for Villa to rescue something here. Samuel. Vassell will chase. Silvestre is quick. And he fouled him. Almost twice as many fouls committed by the visitors today. Manchester United have been champions in 8 of the 11 seasons since the Premier League was formed, and it would be a brave man who would bet against them winning the title again. They've twice been runners-up, of course, in that period as well. The lowest they've ever finished was third, and you could say with a degree of certainty that they won't finish any lower than third this season. The fourth official, Mike Riley, has just been named incidentally as one of the referees for next summer's European Championship finals in Portugal. Hitzlsperger. Ronaldo back defending. There's Bellion. Scholes. Just lacking a bit of sharpness, not surprisingly, after his long layoff. Delaney. Now Dion Dublin coming forward. Barry. Scholes trod on the ball then and got away with it. Keane. That's a clever little ball. Bellion. Kleberson. Ronaldo now playing on the left, of course, since Giggs was substituted. Whoops, there he goes again. But going to do better than that, really. It's wasteful. The tricks are all very well, but it's what he produces at the end of them that matters. Hendrie. And again, Hendrie. Delaney. This is the second time that Howard's been called upon to deal with crosses that almost turned into shots. And that's how long we've got to go, precisely, to the second. I wonder if it matches with Sir Alex's famous stopwatch, which is often produced and brandished at officials when they're not in agreement with the Manchester United manager, who's had to apologise, by the way, to the Football Association this week for comments he made in the wake of the punishments that were handed out to Arsenal after that Battle of Old Trafford, as it was dubbed by the tabloid newspapers earlier in the season. Ten minutes to go in the Barclaycard English Premier League here at Old Trafford. Manchester United 2, Aston Villa 0. Manchester United need a third goal to go into second place on goal difference, or possibly two anyway. Of course, it matters, depends what happens between Arsenal and Chelsea's respective games as Hitzlsperger goes through. Well, I guess you'd have to say, the way things have gone for Aston Villa today, this is very nearly the best opening they've had. He skipped over the challenge brilliantly, but then scuffed the shot. Yet another full house, 67,621 packed inside the Theatre of Dreams. McCann. Now Vassell. That's a free kick, foul by Fortune. Can they provide an exciting finale here, Villa, by snatching a goal? It's a good delivery and a good clearance as well. Gary Neville and now Ronaldo. Blackburn going really well at St Andrews today. The Turkish international 2 guy has made it Birmingham 0, Blackburn 3. Blackburn have had a wretched season so far, and they're one place above Aston Villa, so there'll be a bit of a gap developing now by the looks of things between Blackburn and Villa, who are going to be very firmly in the bottom 4, and quite possibly by tomorrow in the bottom 3. Scholes. And he won it back brilliantly. Forlán. I think he might have been offside. Gave it away there, but never gave up on it, Scholes. Clearly offside in the end. Delaney. And Bellion fails to pick out Scholes. One back well by Darius. Vassell for Villa. Hendrie. Hitzlsperger with the cross, and it's not bad at all back. Well, if he'd have made any kind of proper contact, the Swede would surely have reduced Manchester United's lead here. Came off his arm in the end. Well, quite frankly, Aston Villa have simply not been good enough to take advantage of a lacklustre second-half performance by the champions. The goals are flying in at White Hart Lane. Yet another for Spurs, and yet another for Robbie Keane, who's completed his hat-trick against Wolves. As Howard takes another risk here against Ulbeck. Now Spurs 4, Wolves 1. Wolves very definitely in a relegation battle now. They've already got the worst, or second worst, defensive record in the table. Only Leeds have let in more goals, but there's not much between them now after another 4 into the Wolves net at White Hart Lane today. They've just pulled the goal back, by the way, Wolves. Alex Ray, the veteran Scottish midfielder, making it Spurs 4, Wolves 2. And that just about sums up Villa's afternoon. A throw-in, they couldn't even keep on the pitch. Into the final 5 minutes at Old Trafford, and it's been a stroll, really. Manchester United played some quite superb football in the first half. In the second, well, they've just sat back and said to Aston Villa, how good are you? We let you have the ball, can you damage us? And the answer's been no. Bellion. Caught by Delaney. So Bobby Charlton amongst the spectators here with a very Russian look. Don't tell me he's joining the Abramovich revolution as well. Chelsea, of course, will be a big threat to Manchester United in the title race this season. There's no question about that after their victory against them at Stamford Bridge a week ago. Roy Keane. Scholes. He thought he was getting a free kick, but it's only a throw to Manchester United. Hitzlsperger's challenge. Well, in all honesty, it's been a pretty uneventful second half here. All the action of note came in the first 45 minutes. There have been brief flurries of activity, mainly from Aston Villa's point of view, but nothing to seriously concern the Manchester United defence. Well, these are the kind of games you've just got to win if you've got realistic ambitions to win the title. Back unhappy there, feeling that Villa should have had a free kick. And after those 2 defeats in a week, Manchester United have hit back in the finest way. Certainly finest way in the first half anyway. Hendrie for Aston Villa, they mustn't give up. If they could snatch a goal now, who knows what could happen. Barry for them. Ball for Samuel. Away by Paul Scholes. Blackburn Rovers have gone 4-0 up now against Birmingham at St Andrews. Young Paul Gallagher, outstanding young Scottish player who's made a few appearances this season, got the goal. Here's another youngster, Bellion, for Manchester United. Having ghostly past 3 defenders, he should have delivered a better ball, really. Scored his first Manchester United goal in the Carling Cup tie against Leeds. Still looking, therefore, for his first Premier League goal for United. Well, he's been around in the game long enough to know, as the spectators heading to the exits behind him already know, there's only one outcome now. And it's getting a bit worrying, to put it mildly, for Aston Villa. This is going to be their 15th league game of the season completed, with only 3 wins to show. And with the disappointing total of 14 points, if they're not very careful, Aston Villa could get sucked into a relegation battle. Before last season, they'd finished in the top 8 for 7 successive campaigns. And when you think about it, it was only 10 years ago, which is not exactly a lifetime in football terms. They were actually runners-up in the Premier League to Manchester United. How far they've fallen in 10 years when you think what United have done in that decade. Gareth Barry with a cross. Putting in handball there by Scholes, not given though. Into the final minute of the game. There's been an air of inevitability about this match. I think from the moment Ruud van Nistelrooy put United 2-0 up just before half-time. And if I was David O'Leary, I think what would concern me more than anything is the apparent acceptance of defeat by Aston Villa. They've just not really got back into the game at all. 2 minutes of stoppage time. Forlán. What a superb effort to round off another winning performance by Manchester United. Great goal. One of the few moments of genuine quality in a disappointing second half. A moment of quality that wouldn't have been out of place in an outstanding first half. Talk about direct. One whack down the middle by the goalkeeper. He actually miscontrolled it, Diego Forlán, initially, but had the presence of mind to regain his footing, and then it was a brilliant left foot shot to finish. Well, he's in a real scoring spree at the moment. That's his 6th goal in his last 9 games for the Uruguayan international, appearing here in his 50th game for United in the Premier League. Took him a long time before he got his first ever goal. That was against Aston Villa last season. Some 26 matches he went before he scored that, but now he's a regular on the scorers list. Would you believe there's been yet another goal at White Hart Lane? That won't concern him too much, but it'll please the Tottenham fans. Stefan Dalma has made it Spurs 5, Wolves 2. Bit of icing on the cake for Manchester United and their followers, and depending of course on the result between Leicester City and Arsenal, Manchester United could now move into 2nd place in the table on goal difference. They were 3 inferior to Arsenal in that particular column, and now they've got 3 without reply by Aston Villa. Remember, Arsenal were leading. Kleberson with the back heeler. Forlán's onside. That might be significant now. That's 4. 2 goals in 2 minutes for Diego Forlán. And the scoreline now has a much more sensible look about it as far as Manchester United are concerned. And those who drifted for the early bus home have missed 2 beauties from Diego Forlán. Never leave a match before the final whistle. Great turn, lost the defender, found the net almost in one movement. Kleberson with the back heeler, and the South American influence has rounded off a very good day for the champions here. 2 for Van Nistelrooy, who departed to make way for Forlán. Now 2 for him. The goals just keep coming.
Diego Forlán finishing with a flourish. Manchester United stomping on Villa. The final scoreline 4-0. We will be right back.